Hi there, my magical star beings. This is Psychic Siren Tarot, and welcome to the channel. In today's reading, we're going to be taking a look at what do people miss about you in your absence. So we have 3 piles to choose from. Pick whichever one you are most drawn to. For pile number 1, we have the shell with the moon dust tarot. For pile number 2, we have honey calcite with the good tarot. And for pile 3, we have rose quartz with the dreams of Gaia tarot. So I'm going to give you a few seconds to pick a pile. Hopefully by now you have picked a pile. If not, you can pause the video. Once you're done picking a pile, please find the timestamps for your pile in the description box below, and then I'll see you at your reading. Hi there, my pile number ones. If you chose the shell and the moon dust tarot, then this is your reading. We're going to be taking a look at what do people miss about you in your absence. So please be aware that this is a general reading with so many of you watching, so only take what resonates, leave what doesn't. If you find yourself happening to enjoy this reading, then please consider hitting the subscribe button, as it does help my channel more than you know, so thank you. Also, I do have a limited amount of personal readings available for this month, so if you'd like to book with me, you can find my email address in the description box below. So the interesting thing I want to say is we're starting your reading off at 1222 in the clock. That could be an angel number that is significant. So what I'm taking from that angel number is often people miss you in the sense where they feel like they met you for a reason. They always feel like you had some kind of purpose for coming into their life. Some relationships we have with people are just seasonal relationships, and they're only meant to teach us something or, show us something about ourselves or help us where we are in a specific path right now. So you've come into some people's lives for a short period of time, and they really liked your presence and your energy and who you are as a person, and really related to you, resonated with you on a deep level, felt like they were meant to meet you for a reason. And then it's like you disappear out of their life, and it's a bittersweet feeling where they do miss you, but they're also grateful for the things you've taught them, or how you've helped them grow, or how you've helped them level up on their journey. So that is a common feeling that occurs within people, where they often feel like you left them with more than when they started by meeting you. I hope that makes sense. And people often feel lucky that they got to have an experience with you that was so beautiful and memorable. Another thing I want to say before I start pulling your cards, pile number 1, is as I was looking at these cards here, I was hearing the song Video Games by Lana Del Rey, specifically the part where she says, "Heaven is a place on earth with you." So, in that song, she also says something like, "I heard you like the bad girls, honey, is that true?" So maybe you have this duality to you, because that song makes me think of somebody that has a quite heavenly, angelic, pure, innocent energy, where people know that you have innocent intentions towards them, and you showed them a pure love with no cruel intentions. But then at the same time, you're so comfortable with your duality, where you can show the other sides of yourself that are a little bit more like on the yin and yang side. Like, we all have our light side and our dark side, and you're comfortable with showing that to people, but not in a malicious way. I hope that makes sense. So people miss that about you, your realness, how you can show both sides of you, but people still know you have an innocence and pure intention and love for them. And that is something they definitely miss about you, but also the way you make them feel. Like that line, "Heaven is a place on earth with you." You make them feel like it's a literal paradise, or like they're literally on heaven on earth, so people miss the feeling you give them, and how you make life feel more brighter and vibrant when you're in their life and in their presence. Also, that song gives me a more romantic feel, so maybe there are a lot of romantic interests, partners, people you've spoken to romantically that do definitely miss you after something gets torn apart, I'm hearing, or after something just doesn't work out. So now let's go ahead and take a look at your tarot cards that you chose. Also, the song video games makes me think of someone here that may be a gamer or love to play games with people. Not like games with people, but like video games, if you get what I mean. Also, that song has a little bit of a sexuality type of feel to it. So maybe people you've been with intimately miss that sort of fun sexual experience they get to have with you. If there was like any sort of breakup, they miss you sexually. Interesting. So let's see what comes up. Spirit guides of pile number 1. What do people miss about them in their absence? What do people miss about them? King of Swords. Then we have the Ten of Swords, Six of Wands, Two of Cups, and for now the Sun. So a lot of you watching may be fire signs, Aries, Leo, Sagittarius, or air signs, Aquarius, Libra, Gemini, or these could be the people that miss you the most right now. That's just something I'm noticing immediately. So I do think that you have this ability to stay on people's minds even after you're not in their life physically. So even though you're not in their life physically, you linger in their mind for months, years after the connection has ended. That's what I see with the King of Swords, Ten of Swords. People also tend to ruminate about you, overthink about you when things have ended with no closure or explanation. Where again, they ruminate on it in their mind, overthink what could have happened, why it ended in the first place. And they so much overthink my English, sorry. They overthink so much that it's like they even think, should I reach out for closure? Should I talk to pile number 1? So you even have people you haven't spoken to for years that still think of you out of the blue today. Some of them have gratitude for you, for the experience you've given them, for how you've made them feel, like I said previously. Whereas others of them still to this day overthink about why things ended, overthink about what could have happened, if you still care about them or not. And then some of them still think about you where you just pop up in their mind. And they wonder where you are today, what you're doing right now, who you are today. And there's a sort of curiosity there. Again, people feel a sense of gratitude and they feel lucky that they got to even experience a connection with you in the first place. So that's what they often feel. And I think they miss that experience. They miss the feelings you brought them. With the Sun showing up here, it is showing me that you often make people feel extremely happy, giddy, and joyful whenever you're in their presence. So they miss that feeling of happiness and joy and excitement and fun you brought them. So people often feel like you're very fun to be around. You have this contagious, bubbly, happy type of cheerful persona that you give out to the world. And you're very positive. You have a very positive mindset. So let's say a friend is going through a very stressful, negative situation. You have this way of validating their feelings and experiences, yes, but also showing them that they can think in a more positive way without invalidating their feelings. And that's something they often miss because you brought so much light and sunshine into their life whenever they were going through dark or stressful or chaotic times or experiences. And you were that light in the darkness. And sometimes when they find themselves being in that same darkness today, they need to try find the light themselves without looking for it externally outside of themselves. And then they miss that light you brought them. They miss that cheerfulness you brought them. They miss the things you said that made them laugh. Sometimes people even still think about the things you said to them that made them feel joyful, or the things you did to them that made them feel joyful, that made them smile, that made them laugh, and they still get that same feeling today when they think about it. I'm hearing from Spirit, people often feel like their lives become bleak and boring and stale when you're not in their life anymore. When they compare their feelings to now to when you were in their life. Very interesting. Another thing I see here is people miss your free-spirited nature and how you make them feel free and just like carefree, like they have no thoughts in their mind weighing them down or no emotions weighing them down. They just feel like, when you're a child and you just see life in so much color, that's how you make them feel. So they miss that. They miss your free-spirited nature and how you made them not overthink as much. So they miss that in your absence. People often miss your friendship as well and your loyalty when they're not in your lives anymore. So let's say you had certain friends where you were a ride or die friend to them, where you were completely loyal to them, and you were a great friend to them. They miss that friendship you gave them. They miss that loyalty. They miss that devotion. Because that's very rare and hard to find in people sometimes. Genuine friends, true friends. Also, people miss your compliments, how you uplift them when you're not in their life anymore, because you give the best and most thoughtful compliments that really make their heart like fill up with joy. But even strangers, like let's say you've complimented a stranger and that stranger's like, oh, this is weird. They're a stranger, but I miss them. Like, I wish I could have been friends with them and spoke to them more. The way they complimented me just made me feel so happy, and I remembered it the whole day. So there's something about that showing through. So now I'm hearing a song. I think it's called 99 by Holly Cook, if I'm not mistaken. I just want to make sure. Okay, yeah, it is that song. So, since I have clairvoyance, clairaudience, I'll sometimes hear songs in my readings. But since I did hear two songs for this pile, maybe people miss your music taste. Maybe they really like your music taste. Or let's say a song comes up that you used to listen to, or a song that reminds them of you. It will also make them miss you. And then while they're hearing that song, it will bring back all the feelings they have towards you. So in that song, she basically talks about the fact that, she's feeling alone without the person. And she says in the song, all the new days are sour and the old times smooth. Remember 99 on the beach when we lay together. So she's kind of just going over the memories she has with a specific person, which is so, what's the word? Cohesive with the reading. So you may want to listen to that as well if you feel called to. So people often reminisce on your experiences together, and again, they feel like life is bleak without you. Another thing I'm seeing from Spirit is going back to the thing I said of you bringing growth to people and enlightenment to people. You leave a sort of ripple effect on people's lives where their lives are never the same. You change something in the most good way, in the most great way. I don't know if that's how you word it. But there's something about that coming through where people miss that. They miss the growth you bring in their life. They miss how they progress when they're in your life, because when they're not in your life, they feel like they don't really see much growth on their own. But when you're in their life, it's like, I'm just clairvoyantly seeing a tree grow 3 times faster than it usually does. So that's just a metaphor for them growing faster when you're in their life than on their own, and they miss that. So maybe you're that type of person that sees people's potential and helps them become that, helps them reach that. You're not just going to be that type of friend or lover that just is like, oh, you're fine as you are, but you see their potential, and it's not like you're trying to change them, but you're helping them reach that potential. And even if you are that type of person that gives people compliments and gives people their flowers, you also are honest with people of, where they could improve so that you can help them reach their potential. And sometimes people misread that and take that as you trying to change them, but after that, they come to the realization that you were just seeing the best in them and helping them reach that. So that is something I see, whereas other people feel gratitude for it. People also miss your physical touch, your hugs, holding hands, kisses, whatever it is, like any type of physical touch at all. They miss that about you when you're not in their life anymore. There's something about your physical touch that just gives them another type of feeling that can't even be explained with words. And no other person can give them that same feeling with their physical touch. I do also think with the Two of Cups being here, this kind of confirms what I said about like romantic situations missing you when you're not in their life anymore, because the Two of Cups is the romance card. And this card kind of looks mysterious because we only see their shadow, we don't see their full faces. So, when you're out of their life in a romantic sense, they feel like you're so mysterious and out of touch. And they feel like they can never get another person like you. They can never replicate you. You're so rare. And something about that just brings them a pain in their heart because they know they can never get back that same love they miss, or how you treated them, or how you made them feel if it wasn't love yet. I do also think some of you have like this sassy personality, or like, again, you say things that are very funny, you're very charismatic. So people definitely miss that when you're not in their life anymore. I do also think with the King of Swords, people miss your conversations, the way you communicate with them. Also, I do feel like you're that type of person that has a strong emotional intelligence, but also lots of mental intelligence, if that makes sense. So when you're communicating with people and having difficult conversations with them, you try to communicate in the best possible way to bring healing to a destructive situation or conversation. So people miss that about you, is that like when you're in those type of quote unquote destructive or difficult conversations full of emotion, like conflict as an example, you try your best to communicate and bring love back to the situation and peace back to the situation so that both people can feel like they have something resolved from that conversation. People often miss your emotional intelligence and your communication style because, again, that's very rare to find in people. Some people, when you're having a conflict with them, all they want to do is scream and shout and they don't want to listen or, bring love back to the situation. Or some people just ignore you and they don't even want to try communicate. So it's very difficult to find people like that, like you, and people miss that. And going back to what I said, a lot of these things people see in you are things they can't exactly find in other people. So again, people miss your rare energy, your uniqueness. That's what they miss. I also think you're that type of person that is so authentic to yourself. People miss that because a lot of the times they struggle to find people that are comfortable with being themselves in front of them and make them feel comfortable being themselves in front of those people. So, when you're able to be comfortable in front of a person and be yourself, that just shows that you trust that person and you can open up to them. And it just feels like a more beautiful, real experience when you can feel like that. So people often miss that with you. I also see people looking back to photos of you or photos of you together when they miss you. So I think this is all I have for you. I'm going to leave your reading here. I really hope this reading resonated with you. Please don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time. One last note, I'm seeing Mickey Mouse. I don't know what that's about, but I'm seeing it. Okay, bye. Hi there, my pile number twos. If you chose this orange, yellow calcite, I'm not sure what I said, and the good tarot, then this is your reading. We're going to be taking a look at what people miss about you in your absence. So please be aware that this is a general reading. Only take what resonates, leave the rest. If you find yourself enjoying this reading, then please consider hitting the subscribe button, as it does help my channel more than you know, so thank you. Also, if you'd like to book a reading with me, I do have a limited amount of space for personal readings, so if you'd like to book, you can find my email address in the description box below. So firstly, what I want to say about your pile before I shuffle, I just got some messages for you. So firstly, this crystal kind of looks like a lozenge. Those kind of like medicine things you put in your mouth when you are having a cold or a flu or your throat hurts. So maybe you have this very soothing energy, a very healing energy. That's the first thing I'm picking up on, because you are so in touch with your heart chakra. The green here makes me think of the heart chakra. So you're very in tune with your heart. You lead by your heart through every interaction. And people miss that. Definitely. They miss your heart. They miss your love, the way you showed them love. Okay? And being around you, your energy feels healing. I think you bring a lot of healing to people you encounter, whether you realize it or not. You don't see the healing you bring them. And people often miss that, miss your energy, miss your heart, miss your love, you know? So that's something I see. As I picked up your tarot deck on my shelf, my makeup bag fell down. So I don't know if some of you have done makeup for other people before, or, you know, borrowed your clothes to people, or just made them feel beautiful in some way. Anyway, I don't know if it's complimenting them or actually giving them a makeover or borrowing them your lip gloss for those that wear makeup. But there's something about that coming through that people miss, but maybe also your physical beauty. And don't get me wrong when I say this, you have a physical beauty, but also an inner beauty. So people don't just miss the physical beauty you have, but people miss looking at you. I know that sounds superficial, but just hear me out. It's like, you know, when you're looking at a very attractive, pretty, or handsome person, you just enjoy looking at them and speaking to them more. And I guess it is a little bit superficial, but it is the truth. So there's something about people missing that, but also missing your inner beauty, your love. And Spirit is showing me a fairy tale book, specifically the scene in Shrek where he's opening the fairy tale book. Then he closes it and then he's like, oh, whatever, or something along those lines, or yeah, right. Or like he gave off that vibe like he wasn't really believing the fairy tale. So maybe you have this energy of showing people like a fairy tale kind of romance or a fairy tale kind of love that feels almost too good to be true, and then they're like, yeah, right. And then they kind of like think it's too good to be true, but later on they realize that it was true, it wasn't too good to be true, you were offering something real, and then they kind of regret not believing you at first. So that's also something I see, where they miss that kind of fairy tale love you brought them, if that makes sense. They might even think about what could have been, you know, missing their fairy tale happy ending that they wanted with you but never received. So that's also another thing I see. Let's go ahead and shuffle your cards and see what comes up for you. So, spirit guides of pile number twos. Also, as I'm shuffling your cards, my third eye is expanding so much where it almost hurts. So, I feel like this is my very intuitive, spiritual pile. Maybe people miss that mystic, intuitive side of you. Like, let's say you talk to people and you just give them messages without them realizing, or you just always know the right thing to say to them. You know what your energy reminds me of? Like a person where you'll talk to them, and let's say I'm talking to you and I'm really angry or really sad. It's like you'll know the right things to say to me to almost like lower those emotions, if that makes sense, or soothe those emotions so that I'm no longer feeling that way. Or let's say I am going through something and I need advice and I ask you for advice and you say to me exactly what I need to hear in the moment. There's something about people missing the advice you give them in your absence, but also your intuitive and spiritual nature, even if they are not spiritual themselves. So spirit guides of pile number 2, spirit guides of pile 2. What do people miss about them in their absence? Another thing in your reading, I feel like my mouth feels pretty dry in your reading, but not because I haven't been drinking water, I have. But maybe there's something about you having like a watery energy. So maybe some of you are water signs, Pisces, Cancer, Scorpio, or you have this effect on people where you bring them these deeper emotions, but you're also not a dry person. Like you're fun to be around. And there's something about things almost feeling dry without you or boring without you, if that makes sense. I think that came up in pile 1 if you were drawn Empress. Then we have the Messenger of Fire. So the Empress is a card of beauty, which kind of confirms what I said before, but the Empress is also a card of somebody with a very nurturing, big, kind heart. So that also confirms what I said previously. We have the Messenger of Air. We have Coal. So maybe people literally miss your phone calls, your conversations together. Again, that also came up in pile 1, but not calls. So if you're somebody that likes to video call people or just call them on the phone, text them, people miss those chats, the calls, the video calls, the Magician. There's also something about you being one of the first people to put in that kind of effort to communicate to them. So I don't know if you're that type of person that just loves talking on the phone all the time, or if you just love video calls all the time, checking up on the people you love, or just people you are interested in or getting to know, like you like conversating with them. Maybe you're a really chatty person and people miss that about you because there's so many interesting conversations that can be had with you. Again, it's not dry with you, but with other people, maybe it's a little bit dry or boring or awkward, but with you, it's not. So people miss that. Another thing I see here, this is gonna sound really weird, but I bumped my elbow, I think, as I was shuffling your cards. And after shuffling your cards, you can see my hands are kind of red. It feels sore, like it feels like I cut my hand with the tarot cards. I'm taking that as a specific meaning, that a specific metaphor that people feel hurt after you're not in their life anymore. They really feel the pain of your absence, of you not being there, and they really feel that hurt to the max, if that makes sense. I feel like you have this very maternal or paternal energy where maybe some of you are like the mom or the dad of the friend group, where you almost like nurture the people around you. I also do sense pet energy, so not only humans miss you when you're not in their life, but pets do too. But just not just not in your life. So let's say you have a pet and you go to work for the day, your pet definitely misses you and almost like counts down the hours till when you're coming back, waits for you, misses you when you're not there. Or let's say you go to a friend's house and they have a pet, that pet will miss you when you're not there. So I am seeing that, but if you also, for some of you, not all, have pets that have passed on, maybe they miss you even in the afterlife. So that's something I see too. I'm also seeing Hello Kitty or just like special interests you may have that people miss you talking about. So let's say you have a certain interest or hobby in something specific that not many people have, and you get very excited when you talk about this thing, even when other people don't have that same interest or hobby or passion for that thing. They miss you speaking about it with so much passion. So that's something I see too. Again, like your conversations are very interesting with the Messenger of Fire, very much like a back and forth, like I get more excited the more I speak to you kind of vibe. Like you give me the vibe where we can, if I had to be a friend, I know we could speak for 2-3 hours and never get tired or bored. Like I would get more interested in the conversation as it goes along, where I almost feel this back and forth energy of like, oh, me too. Yes, exactly. Like you just get me, you understand me. Like I feel that energy. So maybe people feel that way when they're speaking to you and they miss that. They miss like that kind of conversation with the two messengers and the call. Definitely your conversations is a big thing because I mean, you have messenger coming up twice and call, 3 cards about communication. So that's a big thing that people miss about you when you're gone. People also miss the little things you do for them. I feel like you're a giver. You love to give to the people you love. And you may have even felt in your life like you've had a lot of unreciprocal connections where you have given more than you have received. And I do think with the Empress here, you are on a self love journey where you're only looking to keep people in your life that are able to reciprocate what you're giving out. And that's not a bad thing at all because there's nothing wrong with wanting reciprocal connections in your life. And I'm not saying we should give with the expectation of receiving something back. Nobody owes anybody anything when we give them something. But if we are constantly giving, and we notice the other person's not giving back, eventually that may lead to resentment. Eventually that may lead to you almost feeling fed up or just feeling like that person doesn't appreciate you or just feeling like that person isn't giving back what you're giving, and it leaves like a not so nice feeling. So I do think like maybe people you've cut out of your life where they weren't able to offer you the things you needed or wanted in your relationships, or people that weren't able to have a healthy relationship with you where you maybe cut them out of your life. They do miss you a lot and they regret that and they wish they could have given you what you wanted in the first place. But there's also something about people appreciating the little things you've done for them and given them. Even if they haven't shown it back or shown appreciation in the moment, they do appreciate it in your absence. So I do see that. Also, I'm seeing a piece of cake clairvoyantly. So I don't know if some of you bake or cook, but there's something about people missing the taste of the food you make, the flavors, like if you've ever made food for people or baked for people. So I won't lie, going back to the self-love message, I just got a message now that some people, very toxic people, by the way, that you once had in your life, miss the version of you before you gain self-love. And that is not to say you should now go and derail that path of self-love and go back to those people. No. Firstly, I want to unpack that. If a person loves you with no boundaries, loves the version of you they got, where you weren't speaking your truth, where you weren't loving yourself, where you were putting them before you, where they were hurting you, but you kept keeping them in your life, that only benefits them, not you. And it doesn't even truly benefit them because eventually it just becomes an unhealthy, toxic relationship full of negative emotions. But I digress. I'm not saying that with a negative intention, but it is coming through. So I'm just being honest with what I see here. But I think that you shouldn't take that to heart because those people just want people in their life with no boundaries, just want to be able to do whatever they want without taking any accountability or changing their behaviors or actions. And that has nothing to do with you and everything to do with them. Whereas there are some people that are so happy that you found self-love, the people that really do respect you and care for you and want the best for you and your mental health and your emotional health. So there are some people that are really happy that you've reached this place of self-love. And then I also see some people that are quite jealous and feel the need to almost like put you down because you love yourself. I know that's going a little bit off topic, but I'm seeing it here. maybe those people miss you but don't want to admit it. Like if you've ever had any jealous friends or fake friends or just people in your life that were toxic, they miss you but they don't want to admit it and they don't want to change, some of them. People miss looking into your eyes and having eye contact with you. I'm not sure why, but I'm seeing it. Also, people miss. I'm seeing something about taking photos of each other. So maybe you're that type of person that takes really good photos of people whenever you go somewhere together. I know I've dealt with that before where I'll have some people that take really good photos of me and then some people that don't try or just take really bad photos of me. So I get that feeling. It's like you're that friend that always took good photos of them. So there's something about that they miss. Again, with the magician, it's like you have this very magical, mystical energy that people miss. Also, the fact that you are able to create the life of your dreams, you're able to put that out into your reality and call it to you, into your vibration, into your energy. I feel like you're that type of person that is very much like going towards your manifestations. So people often miss the inspiration you've brought them by you just being in their life and you going towards your goals and dreams and desires and wishes and creating it for yourself. They miss feeling inspired by that. So that's something I see too. And your voice too. I don't know why I keep getting messages from people like from your past that were maybe a little bit toxic. So maybe a lot of those people miss you, but I'm seeing an energy where it's like, I had your full heart and now you've closed off your heart to me. And I regret not treating you right. And I wish I just showed you more love, or I wish I just did something different so that I could still have your heart today instead of have you have it closed off to me. So as I'm in their energy, I feel that. So that maybe that's what they feel. They miss your heart again. I think I'm getting repeats of the same messages, so I think I'll leave your reading here, pile number 2. I really hope this reading resonated. Please don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time. Hi there, my pile number 3s. If you chose this rose quartz crystal in the Dreams of Gaia tarot, then this is your reading. We're going to be taking a look at what do people miss about you in your absence. So please be aware that this is a general reading. There's so many of you watching, so just take what resonates, leave the rest. If you happen to find yourself enjoying the reading, please consider hitting the subscribe button, as it does help my channel more than you know, so thank you. Also, if you'd like to book a personal reading with me, I do have a limited amount of space this month, so if you'd like to book, you can find my email address in the description box below. So firstly, I want to go over the messages I'm just seeing and feeling intuitively before I go ahead and shuffle your cards. So firstly, I'm getting the message here that someone in this pile can speak multiple or 2 languages, 2 or more. So there's something about that coming through where, let's say there was another person in your life that could speak those same languages and you could understand them. They miss that. Okay, I'm seeing that. And I'm also seeing inside jokes. Or like if you've ever had a relationship with anybody, not just romantic, but anybody at all, where it's like you and this person have your own quote unquote language, where it's like, I'll give an example. Let's say you're talking to someone and you have such a close connection with them and you're like in a group of people and you say to this person, pineapple told me this, and you have your keywords. This person over here is pineapple, but they don't know we're talking about them because we said pineapple. We have our own language. That's an example of the energy, but just take it as it resonates. There's something about people missing that with you, like missing the fact that they had inside jokes with you or this inside language with you where only the 2 of you were able to understand each other's language and expression. And there's something about like bestie energy coming through where it's like someone viewed you as their best friend or one of their closest friends, and they felt so close to you, like you were the only one that understood them, and they miss that. Also, I feel as though when you're not in people's lives anymore, things feel really quiet, almost too quiet. People miss that loud expressiveness energy you give in, like you give to them, and it's not bad at all. It's like you totally bring, what's the word? I'm hearing excitement and pleasure into their lives. And, when you're not in their lives anymore, things are just very quiet, if that makes sense. It feels like something's missing. Like people often feel like they can't imagine a life without you. And, if they ever do end things with you or something ends in that connection or you drift apart, it always feels unbelievable because they couldn't previously imagine a life without you. Eventually, they will get back to their normal energy, but it often feels just weird being without you. It doesn't feel normal, if that makes sense. So right next to me, I have a glass of water, and somehow there's like a rainbow reflection on it. So maybe you have this rainbowy, colorful energy. I'm also seeing people in this pile that have creative gifts or abilities, or you love to express your creativity, and people miss that. People miss that colorful, vibrant, radiant energy you bring, but also your creativity. So let's say you paint or draw. People sometimes miss you showing them those paintings or drawings. Or let's say you sing and you love to sing, and people miss hearing your singing voice because it was just so melodic to them. There's something about that people miss, your creativity or just your expression in general, because I feel like this pile loves to express themselves. You're very passionate people, is what I feel from your energy. So now let's go ahead and shuffle your cards. Let's see what comes up here for you. So spirit guides of pile number 3. Spirit guides of pile number 3. I'm seeing birds in this pile clairvoyantly, so you could be like very free like a bird, very talkative because birds love to chirp and people miss that. So what do people miss about pile 3 in their absence? We have the 7 of Cups. We have the 5 of Swords. Oh, another thing I'm feeling, I saw this in the beginning of your reading, but I forgot to mention it because there was just so many messages coming through at once. So Spirit is showing me, when you get back home from a long day, and the women watching this pile will understand what I'm talking about, but maybe even men and non-binary too. But when you're wearing like a really tight bra and you just get home and you're like, finally, I can take this off. Or you're wearing really tight pants and it's like, you just get home and it's like, I'm kicking off my shoes, I'm unbuttoning my pants, I can finally get loose and comfortable. And I just feel free, like, oh, relief. That's how I feel in the energy. So maybe you make people feel comfortable like that. Like, I don't have to act or be a certain way or be like this perfect, pristine version of myself for pile number 3 to like me. They love me as I am. I can be comfortable. I can be not just myself around them, but I can be comfortable around them. I don't have to be anxious around them. I don't have to think about, what I'm saying or like if I'm doing something wrong or if I'm being awkward in front of pile 3. Like I just be myself, be relaxed, be loose. There's something about that, but it's not just about being themselves. It's more than that. It's like I'm feeling comfortable around you, where I don't have to pretend or worry too much about what I'm saying or mask. And that's what I feel in the energy. The 7 of Cups. So people miss that. The 2 of Cups and the 8 of Swords. And an extra card wants to come out. I'm not going to take it, but I just want to show you. just covering it because of nudity. It says integrity. But there is a sexual feel to this card. With the Two of Cups here, we see a couple kissing, so there could be people you've been with romantically. You've been romantically interested in. You've spoken to romantically. Exes that miss the love you brought them, the romance you brought them with the Two of Cups, but also miss the sexuality. Something about that's coming through weird, but it also came through in another pile. So that's what I see there. And it's kind of like, you know, when people are in bed with you, I don't want to make you uncomfortable. This is not an 18 plus reading, but I'm seeing fireworks. So it's like something about that. People like exes miss romantic interests you've been with sexually. With the Seven of Cups here, I do think there are multiple things people miss about you in your absence, where it's not just like, oh, I just miss this one thing about pile 3. It's like, I miss everything about pile 3. You know, it's that type of feeling I'm getting from the Seven of Cups. I do also think if you have any past unloved ones, you do have them missing you from the other side. Although they can see you right now in the spiritual realms, it's not the same as physically being with you, right? So I do see that. We do have the Sensual at the back of the deck, which is a card of loyalty. So people miss your loyalty, your integrity, like the way you're so honest, the way they can just trust you and never worry or doubt your intentions or doubt if you're going to do anything to them behind their back. It's like I can completely trust you. If you were to be my friend, I would never have a thought of, oh, like pile 3 speaking about me behind my back or, you know, anything like that. So people miss the fact that you're so trustworthy. People also miss the fact that you're so independent. So I'll be honest, some people like maybe take it the wrong way when you're so independent, where they almost take it as you don't like them, but then there are a lot of people that miss your independence, where when you're out of their life, they miss it because maybe there are other people they have around them that are very clingy. And I don't know if this is people I'm picking up on that need their space, that are also independent, that feel like they relate to that energy, where maybe these are like people you've had in your life that don't really like clinginess. There's nothing wrong with clinginess. I myself am a clingy person, so I don't want to think there's anything wrong with it, but to each their own. Everybody has their own preferences, but there's something about people liking the fact that you have your independence and missing that, where it's like you can go out and do your own thing, have your own hobbies, have your own life outside of the connection, have your own individuality outside of the connection, where it's like you're not losing yourself in the connection or becoming codependent to a person. So people miss that. People miss the fact that you were so self-sufficient, where also they feel like they learn to be more self-sufficient when they're around you. So when they notice themselves going through a situation and they sort of feel like, oh, I'm all alone and I don't know what to do, they remember you and how you dealt with certain situations on your own without anybody's help. And again, there's nothing wrong with asking anybody for help, but it's just like they learn from you to be self-sufficient and, you know, think on their own feet, to not have to rely on anybody else. And yeah, there's nothing wrong with relying on people, because sometimes we do need help from people and that's okay, but people miss that about you. You have this way of making people in your life feel special, and they miss that. Whatever you did to make them feel special, they miss that. I don't know if this pile has dealt with trust issues or feeling like you have a little bit of a guard up around people sometimes, but there are certain people you have let into your heart and learned to trust over time, learn to let down that barrier or that guard over time. And there is a sense of appreciation here. Like, I know pile number 3 doesn't open up to everybody, but they opened up to me. That makes me feel special. I know pile number 3 doesn't usually trust everybody, but they trust me. That makes me feel special. There's something about you giving certain people in your life special treatment that you don't give everyone. Giving them the type of love that you don't give everyone. It's like not everybody has access to you and your heart fully. Until you can see that they're trustworthy, until you can let your guard down. Maybe you've been betrayed a lot in the past with the 5 of Swords, and that's the reason why. So you're protecting your heart. So when they do get into your heart, it's like, oh gosh, I was in pile 3's heart and now I'm not anymore. And like, I miss being that one person that they let in when everybody else didn't have access to them. So it feels like people miss that closeness and intimacy you two had. They miss the love as well with the 2 of Cups, not just romantic love, but love in general. Like the relationship you had, the way you interacted with each other, the way you made them feel. Also, what I am noticing is she looks a little bit nude, but her hand is obviously covering. So there's something about you being completely emotionally, quote unquote, naked or vulnerable, completely like an open book to people that you love, where you're completely open and honest with them. And there's something about that people miss, where it's like, I miss that intimacy, that openness we had. And it's like they don't often find it with other people. Again, going back to that feeling of like, I can be super comfortable in front of you. I feel like maybe you've had friends or lovers in your life where it's like, or just people in your life where, let's say you're lying on the couch together and you've lied there all day, and maybe in that moment, when you're all comfortable, we don't always look our best, but it's like, I feel safe and comfortable where I don't feel like this person is judging me. People miss those moments. People miss sharing secrets with you and gossip with you. Like maybe you're that type of person that just knows all the interesting things to talk about. Or maybe you just have a lot of tea to talk about that people miss. And I definitely feel like people feel restricted when they can't have access to you and they once had access to you. So it's kind of like they feel stuck, like they're almost in jail. I don't know why that's coming through, but I'm looking at the chains here and it's kind of reminding me of jail. I do think a lot of people realize certain things after things end, especially if a connection ends with you on a bad note. They realize some things about themselves that they couldn't see before. And then they start to want to take accountability. Not everyone in our life that has maybe done us wrong is going to take accountability, but there are some that have realized where they went wrong in your relationship, and I'm seeing that with the 8 of Swords. It does hurt them, but they miss you and they miss the fact that you guys had that connection, and it's almost like they wish they could turn back time and undo the mistakes so that they could still have you in their life. I feel like you have an abundance of love to give, and people often feel like they are that one lucky special winner that got to win your heart, because I'm seeing someone win a lottery ticket. So it almost feels like I've won a lottery ticket to get your love, That's how it feels. It feels golden. So that is what people miss in your absence. This is all I see for you, pile number 3. I'm sure there's a lot more things people miss about you, but these are the things Spirit wanted to focus on about them. So I really hope this reading resonated with you. Please don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.